So good morning, everybody. My name is McSparron, and welcome to our fourth installment of the Pier 12 workshops. We started these in April, and back in April I sat the night before and wrote down what I was going to say in the morning and all that, and then last night I figured you guys didn't pay $50 to come here and listen to me talk, so we're not going to do that. And most of you guys know each other in the room, but one of the key points of this is getting to know the other business owners in the area. So take advantage of that. This morning we're going to talk tech. We want this is an extremely informal, casual atmosphere. Every business owner in the room has got tech questions. Mobile, websites, phone systems, software, whatever the case may be. And that's what we want to do is just have you guys just openly, as our panelists are discussing, just raise your hand, throw a question, just let the discussion happen for a couple hours. And we're going to get to it quickly this morning rather than listening to any of my spiel. So I just thank you all for being here, and just feel free to start talking with all our guests here. I want to introduce Craig Roth. Craig is one of our members of the 100. Craig is a professional what?
Professional what? Good question. I'm a professional speaker, actor, voice artist. Good to see you guys. I have the privilege of introducing our panel. But first, just what I do. You guys are looking to have an event. You need an MC. You need a voice for your next ad. Hey, I'd be happy to read for you, see what you think. And as long as I'm on the subject of self-promotion, get your calendars. August 11th, August 12th, Thursday and Friday at the former Schumacher Goodyear building is Amy Klein's night of skits and tomfoolery. I don't know if you know Amy. If you do, you'll know she's a very disturbed individual. And I mean that in the sweetest way. But come on over. It's a sketch comedy show. I'm sure you'll laugh. And if you don't laugh, I'm sure you'll be offended. So we'll get it going.
I'll interrupt for just a second. If you recognize Craig, Fargo Police Department is running their ads again. Craig's the guy that sneaks into the garage and loads up some stuff and drives out in a pickup. And they're running that. I saw it on 10 o'clock news the other night, so nice work, Craig.
So, yeah, lock your garage. I might stop by. Anyway, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our panel this morning. First is Jake Joraanstad. Jake is the co-founder and CEO of Myriad Mobile, and Jake and his merry band of developers, designers, and strategists have worked on over 300 projects, developed mobile solutions for industries including banking, insurance, agriculture, manufacturing, retail, education, and of course, medieval weaponry. Okay, maybe not the medieval weaponry. Anyway, Jake is heavily involved in the North Normal entrepreneurial community, easy for me to say, in Fargo. And he co-founded Emerging Prairie and serves as a coach and participant at Startup Weekend in Fargo. And he helped launch the 1 Million Cups, which is a great thing that's at the community theater every Wednesday. And being one of Prairie Businesses Magazine's 40 Under 40, Jake will take any opportunity to share his opinions and technologies that make life simpler. And when he's not pondering the next generation of mobile tech, you can find Jake's dogs walking him around the neighborhood. His wife, Mary Beth, will make sure he's eating his vegetables, and his race car is ensuring his life insurance policy is up to date.
Yep.
Thank you, Gary. Next, we have Josh Christy. Josh has a great day job. He gets to notice things for a living and try to point them out to people. Tries his best to teach and inform, and has started several companies, some more successful than others, but currently his team is working to build a Codelation, a custom software and technology consultancy located in Fargo. He has one active startup product in the market, trybooth.com, and is working hard to show its value to customers. And when he's not at work, likes to spend time with his wife Mary and 3 daughters. Welcome, Josh. Next we have Brian Larry. Where's Brian? Okay, we'll wait for Brian. First we'll do Wes Henry. Wes has been involved in technology for over 3 decades. He's developed a wealth of experience in IT service, support, and operations, as well as programming and software development. During that time, Wes has taught college courses on IT tech and software development, published 2 books on Amazon.com, and was an owner or business partner of 4 different technology-related businesses. He enjoys leveraging his technology to improve efficiency, automate systems, and streamline processes. One of his passions is passing on his knowledge of tech to others. He's a technology advocate and early adopter and loves helping others adopt technology and benefit from this knowledge. And working with his business partners at TrueIT, Wes applies his experience and skills to provide the best possible solution.
TrueIT.
TrueIT, I'm sorry. That's me.
Right, all right. I just gave him that script a couple hours ago. So.
I'm doing it. Their goal is, of course, to deliver technology that just works. He's currently working on starting the Business Connection Project, a series of articles and interviews which focus on local business owners and entrepreneurs. And the purpose of the Business Connection Project is sharing ideas and lessons between FM business owners and promoting business owners in Fargo-Moorhead. And just in time, Brian Larry.
Hey everybody.
Brian is the founder of Work Hard, LLC, a company that focuses on new technology that targets the socially active lifestyle consumer, just like we all are. He's been an entrepreneur since he was 14 and has tried to create new companies. Some grew, and some were great experiences. He's also a proud father and enjoys building cars and custom motorcycles. Let's welcome our panel, please.
I just added that American flag to our logo about a week ago, so if anybody's offended by that, you'll have to let me know. There's doors on either end of the building.
Kurt, can we make sure that Mr. Flom gets introduced?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, go right ahead, Harlan.
I'd like Nick, if you would stand up. I invited Nick down here, Nick Flom. He is with the state.
Plains UAS
Yeah, they're spending all your great tax money on drone studies. So being this is technology, if anybody wants a question about drones, he's the guy. So it might fit in here, so I invited him down. So
yeah, like I said, Nicholas Long with the Northern Plains UAS Test Site. We're a state entity doing research for integrating, UAS drones into the airspace. If there's any questions, how we can help, rules, regulations, the cans and can'ts, more than happy to discuss with you.
okay,
Thanks, Nick.
thanks.
Thanks, Harlan. Yeah, I guess before we start too, I should introduce one of our co-hosts here. Harlan Gerger is with CEO Solutions, Ask HG here in Fargo. He's also the Fargo sponsor of the Club E, Club Entrepreneur on Minneapolis.
Okay.
Craig, if you want to give Harlan the mic, Harlan can give us a little intro on what you do on a daily basis.
Not much. No, I have CEO groups here, 3 CEO groups here in Fargo, 1 in Minneapolis. I'll be in Minneapolis tonight. We have that group meeting tomorrow. I was just counting, I've got 3 clients up in the front seat here, which is nice, and several in the group. But yeah, primarily we focus on emerging CEOs and helping them go from the street fighter to the actual CEO that is running a real company, and that's a big change, and that's what we work with, and we appreciate it. I'd also like to maybe mention Mike Dragovich. Why don't you stand up quick, Mike?
That's what I'm just looking for here.
And he's got the magazine. Why don't you hold the magazine up? They're all on your table. That's his magazine, and he published it, so appreciate that. He's also one of our sponsors.
If you're wondering what's coming up for a Pure 12 event, we get a full page spot in each Fargo Inc. each month, and hopefully you're all getting this in your mailbox. If not, I assume they can go to Fargo Inc. and sign up to be getting this sent to them, or pick them up on newsstands everywhere.
Yeah, you can go to our Facebook page and just reach out to us on the channel list.
Great magazine. We thank Mike for being a sponsor and thank him for taking on this project. It is the best business magazine here in Fargo right now. So congratulations, Mike.
Thank you.
And for our members of the 100 that don't know, lunch is generally on Wednesdays, but on Pier 12 weeks we have them on Thursdays. So tomorrow at noon we're at Mike's other little project, Herding Horns, up on 12th Avenue North at noon. So thanks, Mike, for hosting us up there as well.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll start talking a little tech. These guys gave me some questions that they wanted to answer. I put out to our members of the 100 questions that they had as business owners. So some of those are on the screen, and as you guys see those questions, you can shout out an agreement or something you want to edit in the question, add on to it. This is your discussion to learn everything we can. So what happened? Oh, I shouldn't walk around with my phone in my hand. The number one question right off the bat was just, does it take a big budget to effectively leverage technology in business? Does it take big dollars? I'll let you guys just pass this mic around. And
I was going to say, yeah, off the back.
I think one of the things you'll find with four of us up here is in some of these questions you're likely to get four different answers. There isn't always one answer when it comes to tech. Sometimes it depends on approach, sometimes it might depend on what's best for your business too. My answer to that question, does it take a big budget, would actually be no. We all already have technology in one form or another in our businesses today. And the real question is, how do we take advantage of the tech that we have and make it productive for us? So how do we take things that our staff or ourselves are currently doing and turn those things over to the computer to make our lives easier, to make our staff's jobs easier, save time, save money, increase the efficiency of our business, right? And there's lots of different things that we can start with that. Some of us up here build custom software or build software. That's obviously one way. But you can start just as small as automating spreadsheet calculations, getting little tools that will upload information to your website for you automatically, finding ways that you can push data out to your mobile device or mobile devices of your staff. There's lots of ways that I think you can start small and take advantage of technology and have an immediate ROI on those things.
And that kind of ties into the second question of most of us in the room are what we call small business owners, and getting into leveling the playing field, using technology to level the playing field with big business, with the Fortune 500 companies.
These are Josh's questions mostly. The rest of us were slacking off with our emails.
I meant to throw that in there, but
yeah, I thought we just admitted up front. So thanks, Josh, for doing it the right way. I think one way to think about leveling the playing field without spending massive amounts of money on technology are looking at what today is called a SaaS product, SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. How that works is generally a monthly payment per user. And that's probably the most affordable business model that has ever existed in technology to date. And that's why it's the most valuable business model for businesses who are doing that. So I'll give you an example. If you're having problems with collaboration around documents, document storage, things like sharing spreadsheets and having 10 different copies of the same document, or trying to save them on a shared server somewhere, looking at a product like Google for Work or Google Apps for Work, Google Documents, Google Drive, however you want to describe it, they're $5 or $10 per user. You get your email domain with it, you get Gmail access, and all of a sudden you've got basically the best collaborative suite that exists on the internet today for document sharing. You can literally write a document together at the same time around the world. I can be working on a document, my friend can be in China on the internet, and I can see his or her cursor on the screen. I mean, this is the type of technology that's $10 per person, right? And you can literally go on the site, sign up, and within an hour you'll have it active. You can send email out to your entire team, and everybody has it. It's pretty simple, right? Another example of leveling the playing field would be communication. When you have a team of 5, 10, or even more people, once you're sort of growing and at that point, or maybe you already got a business that's that big, the next hard part is sort of the communication channel. How are you communicating? Are you texting your employees? Are you emailing? Is everybody sick of emails? So there's tools like a company called Slack, where you pay, I think it's $5 per user per month, and it's probably the best communication tool in terms of a messaging channel. And you can not only have your whole team on there, and they can create individual places where they discuss certain projects versus where they discuss random happenings at the office versus announcements. But you can also invite your customers into a project channel so you can share information with your customers. So a couple of simple examples of how to get that playing field leveled.
I want to point out too, everybody's got in their papers there a little notes page, and if you miss, any of those websites or abbreviations, or just shout out that you didn't hear it and take notes on those things, and these guys will be happy to follow up on any of that stuff.
One other thing to touch on what Jake was talking about with SaaS companies is you don't have the overhead either of purchasing something up front, or you're not locked into an annual contract. So you're not outlaying big dollars to get started. It's a month by month, so if somebody comes on month 2, you can spin them up. Month 3, new person, you're able to really scale quickly with those products. So it's a really great way to get running quickly and cheaply. And a lot of them also have developer integrations so that you can start stitching software together. So if software A can play with software B, well, now you just add another monthly fee to that.
You don't have to pay a consultant to do it either.
Exactly, yeah. So.
Let me add one more thing. So this guy has a software as a service platform called Booth. It's trybooth.com. So if you're looking to figure out how to get a more coordinated telephone system that's basically all based online, it's a cloud-based telephone system, correct?
Yep.
Trybooth.com. They're also paid per month for usage, is it, or per user?
It's based around minutes used.
Minutes used. So if you want to have an office line and a project line and a conference line, you want to manage it all on a website, that's what this guy's for. So trybooth.com is a good example of that in Fargo.
Brian?
I guess pretty much what I would say, I've been working with Josh now for a while, and as I've been working with him, he's taught me all these like Slack, we use Slack now, different things like that. So like they say, that pay per month thing is a cheap way to actually get started. Me, myself, I consider it to still be expensive, because when you say what's expensive, to start a technology setup, to me 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks coming out of my every dollar paid can be expensive. So when you get on Slack and you get on these other ones, it can be expensive, just depending on what your budget is what I would say, what would cost you to get into it.
And that's where it's probably worthwhile sitting down and having a consultation with any of these guys and going through what costs more, what's less expensive, and before you commit to anyone. Michael?
I was just going to add that I go to this site called Product Hunt, and it's a way for me to find kind of the up and coming beta sites out there, a way to save money, I guess. So if you're looking to find a automated solution or software as a service, there's ways to save money by maybe finding the companies out of Silicon Valley or wherever, right?
Early
They're
on.
just starting, and you can kind of get in at the ground floor, like.
So like a Consumer Reports for tech, or?
For products, yeah.
Yeah, just there's a bunch of them out there. It's like a curated list of all these new kind of things going on.
Slack was on there at one point, I think.
Right. So, and then the other way is, I've actually, a lot of the software I've used for my e-commerce stores and all that, I've reached out to the founders and I've just told them, we're willing to use your product fully. Would you consider it to be a case study or something like that, right? And they actually get back to you. And sometimes they'll discount you, or they'll give you
for free.
I've got a lot of services for free just by reaching out to these people. So
That's the thing about tech companies is, as a user, we don't know how big or small a tech company is. I mean, you don't know if it's Apple or it's on Main Street in Fargo, or so to reach out to the founder, it might just be one or two or a handful of people sitting in an office somewhere.
And usually it's just their first name at thecompanY.com.
Yeah.
So if you just want to find the founder, that's how you do it. Just Mike at slack.com, probably get the CEO. So another example, just for understanding costs, we have 40 people on our team in Fargo, well, generally in the area, and our software cost per month is, I think, $3,000 or $4,000 we pay every single month for existing services that we're paying for. That includes our design software, our production software, as well as the communication and email and our servers that are in Amazon. So if you think about that, that's sort of I call ours a little higher because we have technology that we use for our customers as well, but maybe $2,000 to $3,000 for a 40-person team seems like a reasonable budget to look at if you get to that point and you're doing software for the company. And that makes us super efficient. We have no weird things where we have to copy and paste stuff every day, or everything's pretty much integrated across the company.
Next question up there, it's creating a tech plan. And I think all you guys do this for your clients in some regard or another. Somebody want to kind of describe what that is and how somebody starts or changes, or how you go about that?
Sure, I can talk about our approach. As part of we offer managed IT services is one of the things that we do. And that's essentially where we come in and we are your IT department, top to bottom, everything. And that means if you have a problem, my camp plan, my email's not working, whatever, you give us a call, we take care of it. But on the high end of that, we provide a virtual chief information officer, a VCIO, and that person meets with the business owners every month or quarterly, whatever fits your planning schedule. And we work out with you what your budget's going to need to be. So you've got 20 computers, but 5 of them are old and probably should get replaced. We let you know that ahead of time. We give you kind of a schedule of when those things need to be replaced. We factor in all your licensing costs and renewals, when those dates are due, other upgrades that you might be, that you're going to face in the future, I guess, basically. So we work out with you what you're basically a baseline budget, and then from there it's where you want to take your business. If you're growing, if you're going to acquire other businesses, if your market's changing and those kind of things, and they require a shift in your business plan, how can your IT help you support that? Do you need to find ways that you can cut costs? Do you need to find ways that you can be ready for that growth when it comes, so that you're not suddenly faced with a huge IT expense trying to scale up all in a big hurry? You could have planned for it ahead of time. Part of that is looking at the software and tools that you use, and obviously the hardware is a big piece of that too. And then, part of that overall plan for us is move to the cloud with software as a service. Are there things that you have in your network today that we could outsource somewhere else? As Jake pointed out, it's a lot easier just to budget a few dollars a month than it is to come up with a big cash outlay all at once to buy those servers and that kind of thing, the software if you buy it. We also got to consider if it's in your network, you're paying some kind of maintenance on it too. Somebody's got to make sure that that server's up and running, it's getting backed up. And then you've got a plan for it if that machine crashes. And all of that stuff factors into your technology plan.
Also, too, I pointed out to these guys to keep it at a level that we can all understand. So, if even as far as me, this is as high tech as I get, is hooking up my phone to an Apple TV. So, if anybody has a question, confused, anything's over your head, just shout them out. This is not a high tech discussion; it's a business owner tech discussion. So. Not that you were going over anybody's head, so I just wanted to make sure everybody understands that in the room.
If I do or was, let me know.
Yeah. Tech plans, that's kind of what Josh does on a daily basis too. And anything you want to add to that, how you do that, how you start?
Yeah, we call ours the blueprint process, and what we come in is to look at the next 6, 12, 18 months of your business from a technology standpoint. You can start finding where you're vulnerable, where you could, like we've been saying, move something to the cloud. Really dig in holistically, so you don't need a technical person on the team day to day, but you've got a roadmap of stuff to start looking for. So let's say your accounting software reaches end of life in 6 months. Do you have a succession plan for that? Are you going to be able to move that to something? Do you need to write some custom software to bridge the gap, or can it get moved to another third-party vendor? So that's a lot of what we like to do, is to step in and really for a low cost help you get to that next step. Without having to hire that person into your internal team, and go from there.
And that kind of ties into the next question of avoiding the shock of sudden upgrade costs. Having that plan in place beforehand, or.
Can I back up a second?
Of course.
One of the things that Josh said that I think is really important is when we have clients that have IT needs, they don't know where to turn, right? There's so much out there in technology; it's really hard for anybody to keep up. And there's oftentimes that question of, do I hire somebody that does my IT or do I outsource it? Now, full disclaimer, you already know that I provide outsourced IT services. But one of the challenges of having that internal person, and to Josh's point, having that IT person have to be available every day, is for most business owners that don't understand technology, we don't really know what that person does, right? So, are they being effective? They show up for work every day and they do stuff. They type away on the computer every time we look at them. But are they really making progress? Are they really making the right decisions for our business? Or are they just doing what they know how to do? And maybe they could use some outside expertise to guide them. Or maybe they shouldn't even be in technology at all. Since you don't know what they're doing.
There are lots of people who create the problem, they go and solve it.
That's exactly right.
I remember a couple events ago, Mike, you had gotten up and shared just a wealth of tips and tricks you like to use, or sites you like to go to. There's so much information out there, and everyone gets bombarded with, oh, you should use this, or I should do this. Just to have somebody on your team that's understanding of what's the business goals and objectives you're trying to achieve, and how they work with each other, and where the pitfalls are, I think are a big thing. But like Mike said, product hunt, there's a ton of stuff out there that you don't need a huge budget, you don't need to be super tech savvy. You just need something that's going to help you achieve your business objective. So if you start with business first and then bring technology in as a secondary, that's really the winning combination.
And I'm not a web builder either, so these questions are not necessarily tied together, they're just not properly spaced when I threw them in there, so. Systems integration, software programs communicating with each other. I get it from just about every one of the members of the 100 is they've got 1, 2, 5, 10 different programs running and repeating the input of information from one to the other, and anybody kind of want to address that?
I want to start, and then you guys can give some input, because I have an opinion of how to do this, and there might be different ones. So, usually, when people are asking you that question, it's because they are on technology that just isn't capable of doing that, or if it is capable, it's such an effort to do so that it's not worth it. And that's probably one of the things that you need to put into the cloud that's not already on the cloud. It's probably a local server with some old version of QuickBooks on it, and then you have some IBM machine from the 90s that still has all of your financial data for some reason, and you need to get that stuff, get rid of that stuff, and figure out how to put that up into a service like we're talking about here on the cloud, everything from QuickBooks Online to others. Now, when you understand that the problem probably is the actual technology you're using and that you should move to something different, when you're looking at the next thing, you need to understand if that cloud solution probably that you're doing has something called APIs, or sometimes they call them integrations, but generally they're called APIs or endpoints. It stands for Application Programming Interface, which means nothing to you guys, and this shouldn't. But what it lets us do is lets companies like us help you integrate your systems. It helps other companies that are on the cloud integrate with the other cloud company, so you don't have to do any work. You just click a couple buttons and it says, yep, they're talking to each other now. Those things are all feasible once you get to that point. And so that's generally when you're stuck sort of in this loop where you can't get this to talk to the next thing. It might be because the core technology is just not the right answer for your problems going forward.
And I think a real world example too of a couple systems we use on the cloud. We use a customer relational manager, CRM, called Pipedrive, and that's $10 a month where you can go in and you can set up your sales funnel for how your sales process works. We have multiple sales processes, you can set it up, and that integrates directly into a piece of software for Panelists. So from within Pipedrive, I can communicate with Mike on something, send him a proposal straight through these two softwares, working in one, everything right through Pipedrive, and I'm paying $50 a month for that. I can see when the email that got sent out hasn't been viewed, hasn't been completed, did it get forwarded to somebody? So if you just, again, think with business objectives first, there's a ton of stuff out there, and that may not be the right two combinations for you, but you don't have to go to a Salesforce where you pay tens of thousands of dollars a month to get where you need to go. You just need an advocate on your side, helping to learn your business a little bit, and helping you to take those objectives into the online space.
What's the complementary site to Pipedrive?
Pandadoc, PANDADOC.
I also recommend Pipedrive. It's the best sales CRM I've ever used to date, and it's cheaper than heck.
$12 for
If you're small. Probably a big company, it's not going to work, but it's great. We use it all the time.
Pandadoc's a proposal system. So like, put a proposal, sales proposal, track your amount of money, you can have different people, and you can drag things in so it's easy to grade, people can sign online, it's one of those, that's what Pandadoc is.
These guys are hitting on one of the keys to the workshops here. Is not only are these guys experts in their industry, and that's the thing every month, but they're also business owners. So they're recommending what they're using as owners of those businesses. So that's valuable.
We just started using Pipedrive, and we just started using Pipedrive, and we've used Pandadoc before. What we did learn, and Josh is talking this tonight, I didn't know that, but he did teach me this. We ended up doing some sales, and just kind of had everything in line, and then we ended up sending out contracts, and people actually paid through those contracts. So it was just simple, so it wasn't having to go out there and collect the money, the hassle of all that. It was just a simple, smooth process. So I would recommend it to you.
And it's all about putting a process in place so you're not keeping it in your head. That's what I over the last couple of years, I would always have everything in the back of my head. I'm the bottleneck of my team. I'm sure has everyone experienced that to some extent. if you can get that into a process and out of your head, you're no longer the bottleneck for that. And that's where you can really leverage technology on a very cheap basis to get a maximum return that you don't need to build your company around people, but you can build it through technology and then add people where they're really valuable at.
So I have something I think that everybody will value right now. So raise your hand if you are somebody who has to still print the form or the document or the statement of work or whatever it is that you just got and sign it and then scan it back in. Raise your hand. Okay. Some of the rest of you probably do the same thing, just don't admit it. So the problem is that it used to be an issue where it wasn't legal to sign electronically, and so therefore you had to do that and you scan it back in. But today, that's no longer the case, and there's PandaDocs is an example. But if you want to just use something that's standalone, that basically makes your life so easy, is something called HelloSign, like HelloSign.com. And if you sign up for that, I think it's $20 or $30 a month, maybe a little more. And it starts at $10, okay, so it's even cheaper. And all it does is you get a document and an email from somebody that asks you to sign it. You're ready to sign it, you've reviewed it, you download it to your computer, and you upload it to the website hellosign.com on your account. You literally go down, click, puts your signature right there that you've created already with the mouse, drops it in there, you hit save and send, and it literally sends it to the person signed, okay? Also, HelloSign allows you to create a document that you've done earlier in PDF, put it in HelloSign, put a little box around every part that somebody else is supposed to sign, along with the date and typing in text. You can assign it to them, and then when you send the email out, they get an email from HelloSign saying, please come sign this document. They click sign the document, and it shows them all the spots to sign, and they just click, 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 and then the document's signed. You download a copy for yourself, and HelloSign sends you and your customer a copy, and you're done. And you never printed a single thing in your life, and you should no longer need a printer. That's what I think.
Or it's only valuable if your time is worth anything.
Yeah. Or it's something too that you could take an iPad to the customer and have them do that right there. So if you're not an email type of a person or your customers aren't, you could have it in person, have them sign off on it. So you don't need to wait for that deal to close or wait for them to get back to you and then you're bugging them through email. Again, just leveraging technology to help close that sales cycle.
Who needs HelloSign? The person sending it or the person receiving it or both?
The person sending it would sign up for the account. If I was sending a proposal to you, you would just get an email, you click on it, it would bring you to a web page where you just click.
Just to send or
Yeah, so it would be
If
the
you want to
business.
send them or have people sign them, you pay for the account, and your customer doesn't have to pay for it. That's the same. It's just.
Is there any ease of having both ends on have an account?
No, there's no value in that unless I would recommend all your customers to do the same thing, so they don't send you a half-assed copy of this document that doesn't have all the pages in it, and you don't know if they changed anything or not, and they scan it back and send it to you. That's just ridiculous. Shouldn't be done anymore.
DocuSign, are these cheaper alternatives to DocuSign?
Yes, HelloSign is the direct competitor to DocuSign, and I think it's slightly cheaper. They're all good, but they all do the same thing. But HelloSign is just the most brilliant solution I've seen yet. It's just much more straightforward and simple in terms of how the interface works.
The security is all.
Yeah, it's all safe. Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with Jay. We use HelloSign for a little bit. But in the space we're in, we switched back to PandaDoc because we can do payments attached to it.
Yeah.
So if you're invoicing people, HelloSign's great. So again, there's a bajillion things out there. That is a technical term, bajillion. Solutions that you can go to and find. It's just figure out what you need out of the software. What are your business objectives first? And then you can go through the punch list. And it's an economy space. I mean, so you're just saying one versus the other, compare your features, and you can spin two of them up, compare them, and shut one of them down the next month.
I would echo that. We use, Adobe has a product that's called EchoSign that's very similar, does the same kinds of things. The reason that we use EchoSign is because their API ties in with some of our other software. So which one you choose doesn't necessarily, isn't always the first one you find isn't always best. It's nice to have a full plan and know what you're trying to accomplish out of this. Josh uses PandaDoc because they can attach payments. We use EchoSign because it integrates directly with the other software we use.
but use something, don't scan it anymore.
Use something.
Mike?
I just wanted to represent, Mike.
I wanted to represent the dark side of software because I really consider it a drug. These softwares as a service, you can get almost addicted and start trying like 50 of them. And no, but I'm serious. Like we have so many software solutions. It got a little carried away. So I just my recommendation. Like we actually have our own credit card just for software as a service, monthly charges to keep track of it. Because for a while, you know, sometimes they say don't free trial and you forget. And you know, we found out we were like $500 a month and stuff we weren't even using. And it just got a little carried away. And now there's so many things too, like, okay, I want an HR software service or a project manager or a CRM or whatever, right? How do you even choose anyone? I mean, there's like a million of them and they're really great marketers to you, right? A million testimonials and all this. So that's probably where I'm trying to get better is find these forums or these places where real people are kind of giving you non-biased feedback on some things, because you can spend a lot of time putting new software into place, testing it, trying it, implementing it, confusing people. Like it could get carried away pretty quick too. So I just wanted to bring that up because we went through that as well. I mean, it seems great because it's probably the first thing everybody's going to do, go back and start looking all this stuff up. You know, but just be careful. You know.
Do a review every few months on the paid services you have and just chop the ones you don't use anymore. It should, some companies like Slack will actually send you a report and say, hey, you don't have any users doing this, so we actually just gave you a discount for that automatically. But most people don't do that, they'll just keep charging you, so you just gotta check and kind of acknowledge what you have currently and see if it's actually needed.
Mike, that made me think too, do you guys use a password manager of any sort across the entire team?
Not the whole team, but
Okay.
I use one.
Everyone should check out a service called 1Password. It's a cloud-based team solution, so you can create individual vaults. You have a master password that unlocks everything, and this allows you to, everyone I'm sure has got a sticky note on their monitor for the same password you use for absolutely everything in your office. It's a slightly vulnerable system. So when you send me the password to your Panda doc for me to look at something, you know, your password for your email and everything else, I'm intentional. Yep. And so what 1Password lets you do is say, I want to create a password string of 25 characters and this many special characters needs to generate. So I don't know what any of my passwords for any of my services are, but I know what my master password is for that. And so any of my team members can create then a login to something, put it in the project vault. We just go to the website, we go to Pandoc, I click login, and it populates the information. It's a lot more secure, and it helps you keep track of what services have I signed up for. Because you can go into like our Codelation vault and see just how long it is, or I can go into, if I'm working on a project, I can share those passwords back with them, so it's not an email. So again, just leveraging the technologies that are out there.
I'd say when I started trying to figure all this out, like Mike said, being out there and trying to figure out which is going to be the best software that's going to work for you, I took a lot of the 30-day trials. But what I would do myself, because the first few times I realized I wasn't using like a team to pay for them, I started setting a calendar date, just basically, hey, this is going to cancel on this day, because otherwise they will continue to get you and suck you dry. They will not notify you. So I'd recommend marking something on the calendar once you do start trying something out, just so you can understand and know that this day is going to end, so that we can charge for that.
I do the same thing. Every time I sign up, the very next step I do is I go pick my cancellation date, or I call it review date, but just double check, hey, am I really using that? Is it really still have value to me? Otherwise, you wind up with crazy charges on your card that you can't explain.
That's one of Josh's points he wanted to bring up, and I'm not even 100% sure what it means, so. Thinking releases.
This goes back to more of a custom side. So if you hire Wes or Jake or myself to come in and build a custom solution for you, everyone always has that moonshot dream of, I have this perfect idea. And usually that's 6 months, a year and a half down the road if you have the budget to do it. So think about if you're building, if I'm building a vehicle and I'm trying to build a brand new Escalade, I don't start with the frame and steering wheel. That doesn't get me anywhere. think of the releases of, I need the vehicle's transportation. So I start with building a skateboard. The skateboard will get me somewhere. I may get sweaty, it may not be perfect, I have to do some manual stuff. Then we take what we learned from the skateboard, we build a bike. Bike's a little faster, gets there a little quicker, you're a little less sweaty. Then we build an economy car, and then we build the giant SUV. So as you're thinking about it, you do have to construct custom software solutions. Think about it iteratively and in phases. So that phase one may not be perfect to get you there, but it allows you to get it out in front of your target customers, to get you out in front of your clients, and get feedback on it. Because what's in your head may not be exactly what's in their head, especially if you're client facing. And to get that feedback will save you a lot of money and a lot of time.
The traditional model was called waterfall, where you literally plan this huge project out and you're going to be done on this date and everything's going to be finished. And you would spend so much money doing that, and you would usually miss the date and have half the stuff you wanted, and it would be incorrect. And you would have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, a lot of times these organizations were spending, and not getting what they wanted. And so this it's an agile approach, you could call it, where it's generally you're doing iterations, probably doing things in a sprint, which is either a week, maybe 2 weeks worth of work, and then we review. We do 2 more weeks of work, then we review. That is the best way to do it, because you're going to find your problems much quicker. And the worst thing you can do is release something that nobody likes. It's just a big waste of money.
Yeah, you're touching on a subject that I really wanted to hear about today in this sort of progression process of building something. When you think of the skateboard versus the Escalade, percentage, Escalade's 100%, what is that skateboard in a percentage cost basis?
It depends.
No way to really even
Could be 10%.
throw a dart at that. Could be 10%, yeah.
It could be something where you need to achieve these business goals, and I could step in with an hour with you and stitch together off-the-shelf software, or you're just paying a licensing fee and we don't develop a thing.
Got it.
So it really depends.
Yeah.
Are there marketing arms within your firm that try to understand the end user as well as, know the technologies? Here's an example. I've got clients who don't even open quarterly statements or don't remember their username and password to even get into the site that I built. So it's like you have an Escalade sitting in the garage and it doesn't get used and you paid for it. Nobody's using it.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm marketing support for our company.
So you do both then?
Jake was alluding to our product booth. I'm customer support. I'm development support. I'm the bottleneck on everything. But that's how I like to start out projects. Is I like to be in front of everything. I like to be talking with the customer or the client to find out what those issues are, so we don't get too far down the road. We want to start with a long-term objective, the long-term goal in mind. But you're going to kind of pivot back and forth, and you may see, as Jake was alluding to with the waterfall approach, that you may get 50% of the way there or 30% of the way there. You can say, this is good enough. Like, I don't need to go any further than this. And so if you can stop short of that, save yourself some money and some time and some headache, you're not sitting with a Ferrari in the garage and you can only drive 35 on your street.
Well, that was one of the points that Josh put in, was one of the next things down there, was getting users to download and actually use the app is more difficult than you might believe.
One of the things that's great about where we're at with technology today is metrics. It's so easy to measure almost anything that technology touches today, whether it's hits to a website, whether it's uses in a mobile app. Software now, they can put in monitoring inside the software, where you can tell what features and functions have been used in that software the most. And so as you're building something, whether it's for your own users, your own staff, or if it's something that you're going to release out to your customers, I think about that. What kind of things do you need to measure so that you're sure that what you're producing is actually getting used and you're not spending development time and money on features that are just going to sit there in the weeds and nobody takes advantage of?
I think something that would be valuable we can all kind of share a little bit about is price and cost structure of things like custom software. I think it's the most sort of voodoo situation where you have no idea what an app costs, you have no idea what a website should cost. I think we can all three share a little bit maybe about what averages look like, what generally the first version of the product that we're talking about here. What Josh is talking about when he's saying iterations and focus on the skateboard first, a lot of people will call that an MVP approach, minimum viable product. I would even call it the most valuable part. It was the most valuable part of the product that we want to build first to bring value to customers before we spend much more time and money. But in our space, we build mobile apps most of the time. We call ourselves an inventive technology company because we're doing apps today on mobile, but we're also
working with companies right now that I can't tell you about that are doing things on Oculus Rift. We're doing work with things with augmented reality or wearables. We have an app coming out in the fall that will work with your Apple CarPlay on your brand new Honda. There's all kinds of interesting evolutions of what mobile is today that's coming tomorrow. And so that's what we do. But one of the things that is important to understand is what does it cost to build an app? Because you see an app that sells for 99 cents, which is a poor model, by the way. The paid app model doesn't work. Then you have this freemium model where, yeah, how's the app free? It's free. Well, you get it, and then you can buy stuff. Is anybody playing Pokemon in here besides me? I think so. Okay, so the new Pokemon app came out, and everybody's like, well, how does it make any money? This is a stupid idea. It's free, you download it, you play it, and then all of a sudden you realize that if you want to be better than the guy next to you, you got to pay $10 to get some gold coins so you can go faster. And basically they're making literally millions. They're the largest grossing app on the market currently, and it happened in a week.
The stocks are going to the roof.
Well, they gained $9 billion in their valuation on their stock in 1 week when the game came out. There's 30 million active users right now. Anyways, but that's one of those rare situations. You will probably never have an opportunity like that to be that successful with mobile, but you can be successful. So first off, let's talk about like what it costs, and then we can, I think we should do apps, and then we should talk about web apps, and then we should talk about websites, like the three different things. So I'll define the three, and then we can kind of describe what that looks like, if that's okay. So a mobile app is something you get from the App Store or from an enterprise store that you might have for your company. It's generally downloaded to your phone. You're going to use it sort of more often, weekly, at least maybe daily. You're using this tool. You guys all have apps on your phones. Then there's this concept called a web app or a mobile web app, where the difference between that and a website is that it's actually a functional application. It's a tool you're using. It might be like Pipedrive is a web application where it's a CRM online. You're using it as a tool versus an informational website. So when I say a website, I'm talking about a sort of a flyer for your business on the internet. It might have contact information, some forms, images around what work you do. That's a website. A web app is something that's functional. So we've got a good understanding of the three. So for us, we're doing a lot of mobile apps and a lot of web apps. And what I'm seeing is to get engaged with us, generally the first sort of planning phase, you're spending $5,000 to $10,000 just planning and designing the initial product that we're going to build for you, for your company, or for the consumer that you're trying to sell this app to. Once you got through that part of the process, that MVP we talk about, that first iteration of skateboard, for us, it's generally a $40,000 to $75,000 product. So it's still expensive. It's not like it should cost $10 to build the app, you sell it for 99 cents, your ROI is you sell 10 for them, you made an ROI. It doesn't work like that. So that's kind of an initial idea. Usually a full functioning sort of phase 2 or 3, you might call it, is a $150,000 investment for a proper solution. And when I'm talking about an app, I'm talking about this, yeah, you download it on your phone, but it's probably talking to the accounting system. It's probably integrated with your CRM if it's a sales tool, and it's probably has its own database on the cloud with analytics, telling you how many people are using your app and how often and how it works and all these things. So that's just a little bit of an idea of what we do and kind of what our projects look like. There are cheaper ways to get apps built. We're not one of them. Generally, it's overseas, and you're still going to spend in the tens of thousands of dollars generally to get an app built. There's not really a cheaper way to do that unless you're building something so simple that you can just maybe use an online product for it. So you want to talk about web apps? Sure.
We're the overseas version of Jake. We do what's considered a hybrid app. So we use web technologies to build a native app so we can get there cheaper. We don't usually play in the same space as what Jake does. We usually build apps for smaller teams or individuals even. So most of the apps that we build, Jake was saying, the MVPs in the 40 to 60 range, we can usually come in for that 10 to 20. Again, it's limited functionality, so think very, very granular about what you need to have in it. We also do a lot of web apps, and that's kind of our sweet spot. So we'll come in and build out that CRM or build out that sales tool for you to be able to take what you do on a daily basis and turn it into technology. Turn that into a passive way to generate income. And usually those that start, again, that $10,000 range is usually getting your foot in the door. and then it goes from there. But the way we like to architect them is what's your end game goal, and let's break them back down into 20-hour chunks of time so that we can develop an initial feature. So for instance, we're working on one right now that is taking an RFID reader, so it's reading sensors out in the real world. It's taking that, and we're creating a hybrid Android app to where they can scan, and then it sends it up to the cloud to get processed by an app we've already created. The app cost on that reader and to send it to the cloud is about $4,500. But we've got other pieces in place already that are talking to it, that are running, like Jake said, the analytics, or compressing the data and putting it into a workable format. So if when working with us, I like to say, what is that very MVP approach, and then where can we build on top of it instead of doing a holistic approach where you have to have everything done at once.
I have a question for you, Josh. So do people know they need you before they, like, I wouldn't even know that that exists. Like, would you meet with me if I had an idea and just say, well, you could do something with that? I mean, how would I know that I need your service?
That's where we typically step in with our blueprint process to find out where do you want to go, what are your business goals, what are your business objectives. And I, probably to the detriment of myself and my company, I try to find those free solutions or cheap solutions to get you to that MVP approach, to get you there so that you do have revenue coming in. Because if I can help get you there to a sustainable revenue to where you're not trading an hour of your time for $1, but you can start automating some stuff, that's where we can step in and really raise the bar for additional value adds at that point.
So you'd be willing to meet with somebody just to have a conversation start?
Yeah.
I think the way Josh and I's business works, sales are always the most difficult piece because you're talking big dollars, and it takes a relationship and trust to be able to say, yeah, I'm going to use your team, Jake, for $50,000 to build something. That's a big commitment, right? But we generally are spending a few hours of conversation before we get into any sort of contract. We're understanding the concept. We're seeing if it's actually a good fit for our company or Josh's company. We're also telling you if it's actually worth your time, because we've seen a lot of things, and generally most ideas are bad. And so there's, well, not most ideas are bad. Most ideas could be good. It's about execution, and generally most people don't know how to execute well. And that's the part where you fail. So we try to push really hard back on customers, telling them where their ideas flawed. We've actually turned down people who had the dollars to come and do the work. We said we don't think this is worth pursuing, and we don't want to work with you on it until you come up with something different. And we can help you come up with new things, but if you're not willing to change or think about how your idea could be better, it's hard for us to commit something to that. Our team will tell us, Jake, this idea really sucks. Why are we building this? Why are we doing this for this customer? There's 10 other of these things out there on the market. We got that enough in the past 5 years that we try not to take those kind of projects on. And I think that's probably good for everybody that we don't do that. So.
One thing that I would say, kind of what you just said, today these things out there, I would take the time to look and see what's out there, because there may be something like that you want that's out there already, and you can actually white label that. So instead of having to go out there and pay that $50,000 to get it, you maybe pay $1,500, and now it's called whatever you want to call it, does what you want it to do. I realized that like 3 years ago, that was the fastest way for me to bring an app to market, was to go out there and see what was already out there, and try to figure out who was developing it, understand who they were, and how they can help you get to our app and go by just using what they already have on it. So that saved me a ton of money.
One other kind of development that we do a lot of is integrations. And so we write code software that goes in between other software systems that you have. And so if you're doing double entry or triple entry, where you've got to put stuff over here in your accounting, but you've also got to enter it over here in your manufacturing or inventory or things like that, you want to get away from doing that double and triple entry. So we write integrations that go between these softwares for you, make sure that the data stays in sync with each other. So if you update it over here, it's automatically updated over there, or vice versa. Solves a lot of problems, avoids human error, things like that. And the integrations, they really vary. Sometimes it's as simple as getting some queries, that talks to the database and pulls the right data, pushing that into Excel. That's a few hours worth of work for my team, so we're talking a few $100. Sometimes they're server-based systems, and they need to deal with if the data is being fed from multiple sources, so it's got to make sure that there's no conflicts in data. Anyway, it gets complicated sometimes, is my point there. And those integrations can be $50,000, $100,000 sometimes too. So that, again, I think with any project, the overall price varies depending on what exactly you need, but kind of give you an idea of where you start.
And when you're thinking about custom software too, just don't think about initial development costs. There's server costs, there's ongoing support costs. What's the detriment to you to where if this were to drop for 2 hours, how many customers are you going to lose? So think about those ongoing costs as well, of what that takes to keep it functional, keep it moving, bug fixes, new features. So just don't think I build it and it's done. There's ongoing costs, which is why it makes like the software as a service approach a lot more valuable. Where Mike's burning $500 a month and stuff he's trying out, that's still far cheaper than coming in and building a custom solution that may not be fully utilized.
We're doing a really good job of not selling our own services.
That's another question I'm going to take you away from that too, but Ryan was talking about white labeling. And do you guys have anything like that, or do you do only custom for specific clients?
Well, Josh is the most SaaS model that we have is with his booth product. Yep. For us, we have I think it's good you call it a white label product. It's for the agriculture industry and the scale tickets for grain elevators. We have a product that we finished recently. We put internal cost, if you were to use our regular hourly rate versus what our team cost to build it, it would be a $250,000 project. We did it internally above and beyond our work that we're doing. And we finished it this month, we're finishing it right now, and we sold it to 4 customers. They all have their own look and feel for this product, but it does the exact same thing. And so we sell it, but we don't sell it for $250,000. We sell it for $20,000 to $30,000 for the implementation, because we have to still write code that works with their service. Like they might have their own custom software. Maybe it's a Dynamics product, or maybe it's something else that's at the elevator on a server. We write so that we can connect to that, put it up in the cloud, and then our service that we spent $250,000 building takes the data and presents scale tickets information to farmers as they drop off sugar beet loads, things like that. And we sell that $30,000 plus $1,500 a month, maybe $3,000 a month for each of the companies that we work with. So overall cost is significantly lower than if they were trying to build it. And there's not another solution on the market that's mobile. So that's one of the things that we're doing. Not that relevant maybe in this room, but that's our example of kind of white labeling. We've only done that once. We have another one that we're working on, but I don't think it's applicable to this room too much. But do you guys have anything?
Is that product visible on your site?
Yeah, it's called. If you go to our services or sort of our, I think it's our focus. It's called. If you go into the agriculture part of our site, you should be able to find it. But I think it's if you go to scaletickets.ag. That's our site for it too. And so we've got, I think, 4 customers on it right now, including some of the biggest ones in the region, so for sugar beet growers. But we can do it for corn and grain elevators. Arthur Companies is a customer of ours too. So
We've kind of gotten into a deep dive in some of the capabilities that you guys bring, but as a business owner, I'd like to take the conversation back up to the 10, 15,000 foot view. From each of you, what are the top, if I'm a business owner and I want to go home from here today knowing what I really need to be thinking about, what are the top 3 to 5 emerging must-know technology trends?
you can ignore virtual reality for about 5 more years probably. So don't worry about that, don't stress about that one. I would tell you the #1 thing is that if you don't have email powered by like the new version of Microsoft or the new Google, I think you're severely lacking in what you're capable of at this point. My recommendation is Google. I think TrueIT recommends Microsoft generally. Would you mostly be your solution than an Azure product or something? I'll look online. Is it called? No. Or 365, yeah, Office 365. It shows how much Microsoft stuff we pay attention to. So, but my recommendation would be to look at how you're doing documents and sharing and communication. And if I was just going to give a flat-out recommendation to anybody under 50 employees, I would tell you to get Google Apps for Work, which is Google, Gmail, Drive, and their document sharing. And I would get Slack or some form of messaging tool like Slack for your organization. Those are the 2 most valuable things. There's one thing we didn't talk about. There was a question up there that said, what's the trend that affects my business in the future? This kind of a question. I think there's a new type of product out there today that is automating surveys for your company.
it might be a survey to your employees, and it might be a survey to your customers. Let me give you an example. So, Net Promoter Score, I think we all have heard this concept. What companies you're working with are promoting you as a business, and which ones are really not happy with your work, and how do you get that information? There's a tool called delighted.com, like I'm delighted to be here, delighted.com, that automates the process of asking your customers for a rating of 0 to 10 for the NPS score. And then it tracks your score monthly and yearly to see how you're progressing as a company. When we started, we had a 30 NPS score, which is not the worst, but it was not good. And we have it at 80 or 100 right now, which is incredible. And we check it every month with new customers and old customers to see how we're doing. And if it's a certain part of the process, they'll rate it lower and like, okay, what do we got to fix in that process that's not going well for them. That's one, it's like $30 a month, SaaS model, brilliant. The other one is a product called Tiny Pulse, which Arthur Ventures and Fargo has invested in, or Office 5. Tiny Pulse or Office 5. And what it is the same sort of tool, NPS type score, but for your employees. Generally, it's considered like an employee engagement rating. And they send out, Office 5 is what we use, they send out a weekly random email to every employee in the company that asks a question. How's your home life? Or, rate your home life from 0 to 10, or smiley face, sad face. Really simple ways to fill out responses about how they're feeling. How's your manager today? They'll ask that question, and they'll say, do you align with the vision of your company? Do you know what your vision is? And they're very simple one-click answers. And over time, especially when you have a lot of employees, it's hard to know how everybody's thinking and feeling, but as a whole it matters, right? You want to know overall, is the company feeling good about things? And this tool automates the entire process. I've never done a single manual question, never had to. It asks all these questions and it rates it by health and stress levels and happiness at work and engagement at work. It gives you all these reports, and we present the reports every single month to our employees as to how we're doing, completely transparent about it. And they can give anonymous feedback through it, and they can give feedback that says who they are as well. So if I've got a problem, I just want to share it with everybody, here it is. And it's the best tool we've ever used for getting feedback from our employees, and it's better than every method we've ever tried, because for people who are used to using computers today, they're kind of like, I don't want to stand up and necessarily tell you all of this stuff, but I will tell you when I'm at home on my email, and I'll be a little bit more blunt about it so I can get the point across. And it works great for us, so that's a recommendation as well. What's that? I think it's $50 a month for Office 5. What's yours? Do you use Tiny Pulse? $75 a month. That one's totally worth it. I don't think you could get a better ROI than understanding how your team is doing, honestly how they're doing. I mean, you'll see sometimes the score will dip really hard, and you'll know exactly why that score dipped. I mean, it correlates to real life. Like, yeah, we fired somebody and they didn't like that, or we took a trip to Zorba's on our bus, which we did last week, and the score went like this. It's just real life things make a difference on these, and it's really cool to see the effects of it.
And it's anonymous, so that's one of the things too that encourages people to use it. You get real feedback because it's anonymous. They're not worried.
They're similar, Tiny Pulse and Office 5.
Same product, pretty much. Different companies. I recommend Tiny Pulse just because it's Arthur Ventures. There's invested in them. We should help them out. But Office 5 is pretty impressive too.
And I would add to what Jake just said. We have a number of clients that in their scorecards are measuring cultural satisfaction in addition to client satisfaction, and setting benchmarks in their scorecards related to that. So that's a new application of technology I've seen in the last year, especially if you're real culture centric, and that's really obviously client service is important to all of us, but and a way to gauge that. So Josh, what are the top tech trends you're seeing that everybody's got to know about?
Something you'll learn with me is I like to say it depends a lot. It's going to depend on where you're at in business, what you're trying to do. I would back up, and I like to think business objectives first, technology second. So where are those pieces where you're a bottleneck to where you're manually doing something twice? Can you offload that function into technology? I would echo Jake. Email should definitely be out there. If you have a website and it's a strictly informational website where you don't have custom pieces to it, or you're not trying to make a sale or sign up a customer through it, check out services like Squarespace. $10-12 a month will get you a website up and going. It's mobile friendly, so it works on phones, tablets, everything. You don't need to come and spend $5,000 or $10,000 with us to get a simple site out there. Put those dollars to better use. Another thing is build it and they will come, only works for Kevin Costner in a movie. So again, if you're building a website, you're building an app, there's so much past that initial investment, and it's all marketing and sales. Everyone's business needs to have a transaction, and a transaction is a sale that gives you enough resources to do it again. And focus on that first and foremost of where are my best being used. So if you can find a system like Tiny Bolts, where if you're spending all your time in HR and you're trying to get a vibe from your team, offload that so you can stop doing $10 an hour work and do $100 an hour work, and then find a solution that stops letting you do $100 an hour, do $1,000 an hour work. And that's really the point of technology, is so that you can leverage that and not add people to your team. One that we really like is being able to offshore HR onto someone else. So we actually use a PEO to do that, but there's a lot of online technology companies that you can offload all of that, whether it's something, Zenefits, I can't remember who we used beforehand. I'll try to come up with it and get it over to Kurt.
Don't use TriNet, let's tell you that. TriNet's not the answer.
But what's nice on a system like that, where if you have a paid time off policy or a vacation policy, somebody can go online and make that request. You'll get an email, approve or deny. You don't have to get everything out of your email. Like, don't live in email, I guess is my ultimate point. Things like Slack let you have real-time communication. And if you can get processes in place that aren't email-based, it'll free you up and have less stuff in your head than you need to be stuck with. So an HR platform, get your website over to someone that you're just paying $10, $20 a month for. You get your email off onto a cloud-based solution. There's so many things out there that you don't necessarily need to do yourself. And I think that's where I, as a business owner, start to feel comfortable. Like, if I just stay busy, then I'm successful. Well, if I can remove that busyness from my life, I can then go sell, I can then be more productive and give benefit to my team instead of a bottleneck. So find those things that are holding you back, and there's a solution online that can help you get there.
Wes, what would you add for the trends?
I think the question here first.
I was just gonna chime in because I love this stuff. But I have an e-commerce store called the 100, and so I'll just give you a reason why I'm gonna say this. But in my opinion, I think everybody wants everything now these days, right? Like instant, and that's a big deal. So these things like e-commerce and booking online and all that has become a lot easier. Like I got last year we did $400,000 in merchandise sales online, and it's just me and one other guy, and we basically automated the whole thing. Going Coastal has all of our inventory, they ship it all out, fulfill it, all the analytics come to me, I got a little chat widget on there, so I'm serving people on my phone instantly if they got a question about an app or something like that, right? But it's just got a lot easier to get people to get results immediately. And let's talk like lead generation, right? You got your site, the contact us form, it's basically like who gets back to the person quicker is the person, that's who they're going to choose. Now imagine if you had a chat widget there and somebody's looking to use your services, you're going to have a better chance to get them because they want the answers now. An hour from then, the impulse is gone. They might not want to hire you or get that service. Or like moving service. Imagine if you had a calendar on your site where they can book the time right there, get it done, and because people aren't calling anymore. They're not picking up the phone and calling for a service. But the technology is there now finally for e-commerce and all that, and there's these white label programs and all those things, but it's all convenience now. Like when we try to meet with Harlan or something, there's this Calendly app now where they have their schedule right there in the email. I just pick the day, boom, it goes right to my Google Calendar, and now we have a meeting for an hour at which office. And there's not 3 emails back and forth, so I think the future or the trend is all convenience, right? And so I would urge you to look at chat widget apps for your site. We use this thing called Zopim, which is $15 a month or something, but you can have an app, and if somebody anybody on our team can actually help people write on their phone if they want. There's a million other chat widgets. It's a 2-second install on your site. There's booking software that's just ready, plug and play. And even on the e-commerce side of things, I have a lot of clients that we work in our magazine that would just overestimate how hard it would be to put their products online or on Amazon. And now there's these omni-channeling, logistics programs out there that allow you to manage all your fulfillment and product management all in one dashboard. I mean, it's just really cool. But
I think Drago's been on WordPress a lot, and I love WordPress. It's like my favorite thing since sliced bread. So on WordPress, just there, I run a little race team, like race car team, and we have a website. And I wanted to sell we kind of designed our own parts for a car that we think are valuable. And I literally launched my own store on my WordPress site in 1 hour, probably less than 1 hour. And I had 3 products listed on there: the shipping, the tax calculation for North Dakota, and the way to take the credit cards payments and drops in my bank account in an hour. So, I mean, and I'm not that skilled, I promise. So, it's just super easy to do those kind of things once you have the right technology you're using.
And Mike mentioned Calendly. Our members of the 100, even go to our website, again, I'm not a tech guy, they can just click schedule an appointment, it opens up in a different page. There's me, they can take a call, a meeting, a longer meeting.
This is great.
They click quick meeting, it's got select a day, it's got my available days. Pick a day, it'll have my times available, they can just hit when it comes to me, an appointment's been scheduled, and I just show up or whatever the case may be.
The nice thing about it too is that it works with your calendar. So if you've got rules saying I want to have a 15-minute buffer between meetings, it'll go into your Google calendar, Outlook calendar, and find out where they can schedule, so you're never going to double book something, and they can reschedule from it too, so you don't you don't need a bunch of emails back and forth. What time works for you? Oh, 10 o'clock sounds good. Where do you want to meet? Oh, my office. I can't do that. And before you know it, you've lost the opportunity to talk with that person because of that exchange, or it takes a week or whatever.
So all the members of the 100, this is my calendar that's on the website, and as soon as they go to Calendly and put something in, it just goes into my calendar, and I just have to be there. It gives me a notification, and everybody can see the time is full. So there's simple ways to use technology that really save time.
And the real benefit is, the bigger benefit is you can select times to meet with people that are open for you. That's what we found. We've been using it for CEO Solutions and Mexico now. Josh referred it to us, and it's been an awesome tool. Okay, Wes, trends these guys got.
It's like a two-part question. One thing is all these phone calls from companies saying we get you on the front page of Google.
SBS.
And then the second part is, how do you do it?
It's freaking hard, that's for sure.
Is there a way?
It costs a lot of money.
Not my time.
What's the cheapest way to get the best you can?
Well, you just need to, you want to, who does most of this? You do more than I do. You want to do it? Sure. Yeah. Let's let Josh answer.
So to get into your space, you need to create content that's valuable to the people you're trying to talk to. And so whether that's a 10 tips and tricks, you go shoot a video how to properly put a box together, how to stack things, give some value back to your target customer. Imagine who that person is. Who is it? Is it a business?
Is that something we can do, or we can hire help to do, or how's that?
It's something that anybody can do. So who is your target customer?
Just families and
Families and partners that are moving. Are they self-service? Start thinking about who they are, what their persona looks like, and start trying to figure out, talk to them. What do you wish you would have known before we showed up to help you move?
There's a company called,
There's a company ccalled Buzz 360 that's out of Minneapolis. They have created a tool that does some email marketing, does some CRM work, and does sort of a website builder. But what they've done is they paid a bunch of writers to create campaigns for individual markets. Probably have one for moving. If they don't, they'll make you one. And they have kind of click and go, and for the next 12 months, it's going to run some content for you around moving companies and getting you sort of content that makes sense about how this business works. And if your site is done well enough, whether it's WordPress or something new they're doing did it, and you have the words moving, and you have a calendar of availability for when somebody can sign up, and you have a sort of the right content, you should move up quickly, sort of just organically. But you have to do the things correctly. And more, it's not about gaming the system, it's really about organic, real, honest business being done. Google's got really good at like seeing who's faking it and who's not. And the people who aren't faking it are moving up quickly. Another example that would just make your whole life a lot easier is if you ask every customer of yours to give you a Google review on Google Maps or on Google.com for places, all places, that's right. If you got 5-star reviews from, let's say, just 5 people, give you 5-star reviews this week, you will jump significantly in Google's ratings. And people will look at you on the map or on Google Places when they pull it up on search and say, well, that guy has 5 new 5-star ratings, I'm probably just going to call him. That's how I called my chiropractor the other day. I just looked at the guy with the best ratings and I called him. So I think that's a really easy way to do that, and that's free. You just ask your customers to fill out your Google review.
One pattern that I use is called Fiverr, F-I-V-E-R. Like if you don't have a video put together for your marketing, they can put together a video for you. There's different people on there. They $5, $10, $15, $50. It's super, super cheap. You literally get videos made, commercials made, anything you need for online presence, they can do it for you. So that's an easy way to do it. One way that I'm looking at doing things right now is through Wi-Fi. People are saying, well, Wi-Fi, we do buy Wi-Fi. Free Wi-Fi. People give free Wi-Fi all because what I'm trying to do right now is I'm literally trying to take that free Wi-Fi and run what customers are doing online, so I can then put that together with what they're doing inside the stores. So like say if you want to target a certain type of man, woman, depending on different locations, so I can go out that customer for you, but I can put it right there in front of them when they're using that free Wi-Fi. So they'll be able to see your ads literally everywhere they go throughout the entire town. They know you're local. To me, that's what will get more business because they understand that you're local. So that's one thing that I'm doing right now.
One thing when you do that, you want to make sure that you get the most value out of it possible. So there's tools out there that'll let you take that same content, and when you post it to your website, you post it to Facebook, it'll make sure that it gets mentioned on Instagram or posts on Twitter or things like that. It integrates all that stuff in one shot, so you don't have to go to all those different places to get your social media presence.
Can I get it done by somebody local?
Yes.
Anything that can do that? Or who's coming to the?
AdShark does it, yeah.
AdShark Marketing, they're actually in our building. That might be an easy one.
He's in our group too, Brian.
What's that?
He's in our group too. Rick Berg,
Yeah,
AdShark Marketing.
don't you guys do some of it, Drago, on your teams?
Ash Interactive.
Ash.
That would be your best estimate I could make probably on your.
Oh, okay.
If you do that right, you will get significantly more business than you've ever had before, if you do it right. And so I think you're probably worth really pursuing investing some serious money to get that done. If I was a business that required people to find me and call me locally, that is the only thing I'd probably do, is spend money there.
Are you on Google Places or Google also? Okay.
So that's a good start.
Yeah.
And then whatever you do, make sure that you're tracking it. So you know for sure where those people are coming from, because as you start doing this, you're going to invest in, putting more content in your site, maybe adding more to Facebook and those other sources. Make sure that you're tracking where that stuff is, where those clients are coming from.
That's kind of what Brian does. You want to, one thing up on the board, you kind of expand on analytics and explain what that is and how you do that. And
Yeah. There's some questions I got here. And that's basically what I was saying. We're looking at doing, there's several ways to do this. Some businesses are doing it with apps. Some businesses are doing it with free Wi-Fi. It's basically where if you can get someone to log into your free Wi-Fi and search for free Wi-Fi, you can literally track what they're doing. Think of it as like Google. Think of it as like every time you log on to my network, I literally understand, what you're doing and where you're doing. I can tell that the customer's been on location 30 minutes or for an hour, or whatever they be, if it's a man or a woman, different types of age groups. So what we're trying to do is to figure out how can we take that information and give that to a business like yourself and say, kind of like Facebook, kind of like say, hey, we have 60,000 people that go to this type of venue, every 3 months or something like that. We need to be targeting this. You can actually pick and choose who you want to target. We're doing something that we call hyper-local advertising, where you literally say if you're Monty's, what's that? Say if you're Sazerac. Sazerac wants to go after customers that are sitting over in Bab's Coffee. Well, they both have Wi-Fi. If a customer's over there between 9 and 12, Sazerac can now shoot down one special dinner specials to target the people that are down there because they're in that vicinity. That's what we call hyper-local advertising. So that's one of the ways that we're trying to do
that cost?
This time right now, I couldn't tell you. We literally just started the company a couple weeks ago. We're literally trying to figure out the process. Me and Josh are partnered up in this right. We're just trying to figure out what it costs and how it's all going to work. We just did a big awesome thing down at the street fair. And we got a bunch of analytics when they warm, when they warm wire. So we can come to a business like you can target that exact person in different locations throughout town. We can get to the point where we have our free Wi-Fi and tons of locations throughout town. We can literally follow you wherever you go, or follow a customer where they go to kind of help you understand who they are, how much time to their location, and where you should be targeting.
Didn't Drago tell us that we should just ask for new, if you're new, just say, hey, we'll be your test.
There you go, right there. There you go, right there.
I already did that.
Yes. This gentleman, he's allowed us to come in and test things out at his location, and I think it's going to be awesome because where he's at, he's going to be able to, he can brand himself to everyone who's coming to his location all the time. He can shoot to whenever he wants to shoot, so he can get a bunch of information about who they are, what they're doing, how much time they're spending at his location, and how can we retarget them. If they're on social media quite a bit, he can literally go out to their social media, go out to their Facebook, their Twitters, their Instagrams, all by just having free Wi-Fi in your location. This works in grocery stores, it works in different businesses, offices where people are spending a certain amount of time in there, so the wait or something like that. This works on all kinds of different levels, and it's just free Wi-Fi. You have to have an awesome platform that people build on the back end to make it work. So you need someone like Josh to make it work, but overall, it's just free Wi-Fi.
Let me say something crazy here.
So this situation is sort of going to be the new standard of things that you're going to see happen. I think Josh will appreciate this too. But so I told you about Pokemon, right? I'm serious about this. This game is the biggest mobile game that exists right now. And one of the things they did was they put in sort of there's these drops around town that you physically go to this place on the game and you can collect items. And people do this because in order to play the game more, you need to collect these items. And so they're generally at like historic markers or at a business or at a building downtown or at a park, for example. Same place these guys are putting Wi-Fi, right? Some people are playing Pokemon Go via Wi-Fi because they don't want to waste their data plan, so they're doing it via Wi-Fi. So here's a strategy. McDonald's, I think, just spent $6 million with the company that built the game called Niantic. They bought what are called lures in the game. They're basically these items in the game that you put on those locations I was talking about, and it basically stays there for a half hour or an hour, and it makes more Pokemon pop up in that area. So what it does is, when in this game, how popular it is, it actually, people will see that on their map, and they'll go there physically just so they can catch more Pokemon. McDonald's put it at every location in the country. They put one of those, and they're paying Niantic to put that in the game to track more people coming to business. So one, Josh's team could email Niantic, and they could basically see what it would cost to get a bunch of Pokemon players to come to all their locations that have free Wi-Fi. And then two, you guys, if you have a retail location and you find out that Pokemon already has a little marker on your spot, I would literally do a little campaign around Pokemon players, say, hey, come to our place, we're going to pay for this thing, you guys can catch more Pokemon. The zoo did this. The zoo has 6 markers around the zoo. They brought like 50 or 100 people that day that are playing Pokemon. And then the Red Hawks just announced that they're doing a free Pokemon night, so you can come to the game for cheaper, because there's an arena there's a physical gym in the game in their physical location in Fargo. And so they're getting Pokemon players to come watch baseball for discounted price, and they're attracting them to come with these different techniques. And it's working. It's like a real marketing tool. So crazy stuff, but there's a lot of things like that are out there that are going to be probably more and more important to retail locations.
You can do that too. So if you have a physical retail location and there's a stop near you, for $10 you can essentially buy 6 hours worth of lures. And this is good and bad. But what you'll see, and what we saw at the street fair, was people coming over, sitting down on the bench right in front of our booth, and they're sitting there playing. They're trying to attract the Pokemon to and play the game. Well, they're physically at your location. So being able to draw people in, so if you have a physical store and you just stop by at $10 gives you 6 hours of lures, which is going to draw more people to your physical location to get you there. The downside to this is that marketers ruin everything. So trends like this, if you can get in on the ground level, use it until it's no longer a novelty, and then pivot out of it into the next thing. Because there's a certain life window to this to where it becomes annoying. Like Valen's on Twitter, 6-7 years ago, if you get an automated direct message from somebody on Twitter, like, hey, thanks for the follow, check out my ebook. You know, that was, oh, awesome, this guy did it. Well, now every time you go on, it's just spammy, spammy, spammy. So the trend is get in early and find what works for you, leverage it as far as you can, and then move to the next thing.
People buy something when they're there. They're just taking up space. Is that what they're doing? I don't even know what it is.
They're taking up space.
Yeah.
Well, that's the tough thing too, is they usually not spending a lot of money, they're there for a different purpose, so consider that as well.
But if they're on Wi-Fi, you can actually target them, because it would potentially have costs.
Right, so that's the trick, is figure out how to
People are
leverage.
spending money.
Yeah.
And those windows that Josh talked about for all of these things are getting shorter and shorter. You know, if you think back through history, newspapers and radio and TV and, you know, websites and Facebook and Twitter and so on, every time one of these takes over and it becomes the new biggest, best way to market, the time that it's the biggest, best place to market gets narrower and narrower and narrower. So it gets harder and harder to keep up because technology is just getting faster and faster all the time.
Before we run out of time, I wanted to ask Nick 2 questions. One is, drone technology in and of itself is an emerging technology. Maybe it's been around for a while, but it's just got so much press the last couple of years. Where's that going? And, you know, if I'm in a business, I don't see drone technology as applicable to me. How is that technology going to change? How do you change my thinking on that? And my follow-up question is, do you have any plans for drones that have on them? Because Jake will want to know, and my 16-year-old Jacob at home will want to know how he can play Pokemon on a drone.
I'll stand up over here. For the first side, you know, how are you using this as a business? A lot of it is business tool standpoint. Marketing. I mean, you're getting some of the best imagery possible with, you know, an aerial view. It's anything from, you know, real estate or your own company, or, you know, really taking on new angles is a wonderful thing. And there's a new set of rules, regulations that are coming out. They were just released about 30 days ago. They'll go into effect at the end of August. It essentially allows, one of the major barrier to entry is you have to be a manned pilot in order to fly drones legally. It's literally an online test that you take. Probably go over to the Fargo Jet Center. There'll be a testing facility there. You know, $100. You're legal to go fly your DJI Phantom that you know go to Sam's Club and buy on Amazon. And with that, you know, these sets of rules that they have allowed it's the easiest marketing tool. It's a $500 investment to get this. You're anything from, you know, we started out this session with the Facebook live. I'm watching people put tablets on and you know they're live streaming aerial from a drone. I mean, just a new marketing tool that's interactive. That's that you can start doing in real time. And there's a set of rules now in place that essentially allows everybody to do that. Pretty easy, low barrier of entry to get into this. From a test set standpoint, we're looking on how do we continue to expand this? How do I look for new opportunities? From the Wi-Fi. How am I going to hang this with a solar powered drone so that it can be up there for months at a time? It's going to allow connectivity over cities or these areas of town that don't have the Wi-Fi. They don't have the access that currently has. The opportunities are endless when it comes to those types of opportunities. The drone industry is kind of the way they call it. It's the dull, dangerous, or dirty jobs. How can I remove in your businesses? What kind of are you doing inspections? Are you doing something where you're climbing on the top of the tower, you're climbing on top of the roof? Can I throw a drone up there and in less than 5 minutes I have the imagery that I want? From a data standpoint, that's actually the processing. That's one of the biggest challenges right now. We've got an operation that's flying over the farm fields just west of Hillsborough. Got a large aircraft flying about a 50-mile corridor. We're bringing down terabytes worth of data for farmers' use. Who's processing it? How are we getting that? How are we getting that in real time? I mean, these are new opportunities that we don't have all of the solutions for right now that other people are going to need. So opportunities, I definitely see from a marketing standpoint. The real estate industry, that was kind of an easy one to take a picture of your home, your lake cabin, just new angles, all sorts of different marketing tools. From a Pokemon standpoint, this is kind of this is my funny, the meme online, So I'm a pilot background, a lot of airline friends. So there was a meme that says, guy in an airliner requesting if he could turn 20 degrees right for weather. But really what he wanted to do is, get the Pokemon in the air. So, how do you do it? That'll be yet to be determined. But definitely a lot of easy, low-cost opportunities with the drones. And from the test site standpoint, we're just continually, they're pretty limited right now. It's visual line of sight. You have to always be able to see it. You can't fly beyond that. Daytime operations. So how do we start to expand to areas that there aren't specific rules for? That's where the test site comes in. I can fly at night. I can fly longer distances, heavier aircraft. I look at it from a marketing standpoint. We're working with companies that want to tether a drone, and now you have we've watched the evolution of car dealerships with big gorillas to the floppy signs. Now if I have the drone holding the sign, I mean the easy gimmicky side of things, it's cool stuff to see. So all sorts of different opportunities. You guys have questions? The privacy side of things, most of it is, this isn't necessarily new. There's already a lot of rules in place for privacy. No different than peeping Tom type rules that are already out there. I mean, you're worried about privacy. If we have somebody who's tracking us on Wi-Fi, every single store location that we're going to,
Google's already doing it.
Yes, it's just another.
Well, I just don't want someone looking at my beer bill when I'm in the hot tub.
Go on Google Maps. It might already be there.
Software will solve that problem in the long run.
Right.
There'll be a rule that they have to fly by that's based in software, so you will avoid being able to go over your home, or they'll avoid being able to take pictures in certain areas of the world. That will just by default not happen at some point. So right now it's like the Wild West, I'd say.
It absolutely is. And, a lot of these, so they call geofencing, where you have areas that the drones can fly. And that's the main challenge right now is, there are areas where it is okay. There's a lot of, state parks, they don't want you flying in the parks. There's a lot of, no drone zones, national monuments. You don't want these things to also be taken over, when you're out in Medora, that, I heard a buffalo from above, it's a great picture. But, when I got a bunch of guys flying, RC airplanes, it kind of takes away from everybody else's experience of that.
When we do thermal imaging, we have a camera where we can see where energy get lost out of a building or coming into the building. And we hooked up with a drone company. We took the lens and put it onto the drone. And we went to Mayfield State University. It was cold out, so it wasn't didn't really want to be scaling a roof at the time, so we put it onto the drone and flew above it. And that's where we could see where there's energy being leaked out of the roof, or they got leaks in the roof, or windows leaking, or just a crack alongside the wall, like the state capitol in Bismarck. Very hard to inspect that on the 14th floor outside. So with a lens hooked to a drone, it's a lot easier. And then for me, I can see it in my office if they're out wherever they're at. So it was, but we're still working on making that a little bit better process, but that's how we even leverage our business with a drone.
How are rules going to work when it terms of programming the drone? Is that going to be possible where I can sit at home and send 3 drones out, have to go do stuff and come back, or am I going to have an eyesight on them?
You know, that's part of the evolution. I mean, those are, you know, when we start talking about like a fully autonomous system, you know, from all sorts of standpoints, I think that that's the ultimate goal. You know, if I look from an agricultural standpoint, you know, the farmer wakes up in the morning, brews his cup of coffee, pushes the button, goes flies his field. By the time that he's done with the cup of coffee, he has all the analytics that he needs to know about, you know, where he needs to put on, you know, additional fertilizer, what areas that, you know, this is a loss for the year, I'm not even going to spend additional dollars on it. No different than, you know, Amazon showing up to your door where they're sending out, you know, fleets of package delivery type drones. The technology isn't completely there yet. You know, that's the stuff and so there isn't rules in place that, you know, allow for the safety of that. You know, the ultimate side of everything aviation, you know, the FAA, they're a safety organization. You know, that's their number one standpoint. You know, what kind of risk mitigation from manned airplanes? You know, we have a lot of low-flying, you know, helicopters going out of Fargo from the hospitals. We have, you know, the 8 pilots flying low altitudes. You know, kind of in a similar airspace that a lot of these low-flying drones are. You know, how does right now when you have a man in the airplane, I can see another aircraft and I can avoid him. Putting together the rules and technology on, you know, for a small drone, how can it detect and then avoid, you know, other aircraft? You know, those are the solutions that everyone's working on right now.
Thank you. NASA is working on the sort of autonomous highway for the sky already. They've been working on it for years. So at some point they'll probably be the DOT for airspace, I'm guessing. Is that right?
Yeah, you know, the test site we're working directly with NASA. It's called UTM, which is Unmanned Aircraft Systems Traffic Management. And it's a traffic management system that for low altitudes, where, you know, on the front end, I request an area, and it essentially geofences it, blocks off so nobody else can fly, you know, in those areas. And it's a networked, you know, process. I've got actually guys out at NASA Ames in California right now who are, you know, working towards this. It's going to be kind of a step-by-step process. You know, they have, you know, very small sets that they initially want to acquire, and then, you know, the ultimate is, you know, how do we get to, you know, I'll say the package delivery, you know, where you have multiple aircraft, and how are you doing that safely and efficiently?
Cars too will be a part of that probably when we get that figured out.
We should have been now, right? Back to the future source. We should have.
Cars should already happen. But
Right.
At some point, Elon Musk said so that'll work.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because we're getting close on time here, we're gonna make sure that everybody walks out of here with some valuable information. So if you've got questions for these guys, now's the time to ask them. And we kind of want to get some bullet points, some hard takeaways, some whatever you guys want to kind of wrap up with here and summarize as far as our business owners' tech issues or solutions.
Any questions first?
Hopefully a quick one. Succession planning, exit planning, I think everybody has one in their head or on paper. Recession planning. When companies rely on your technology and their budgets are cut, obviously yours are as well, how do you stay consistent with that company?
As like a provider to them?
Yeah, without being cut by that company as a service.
Sure, that's a good question. We leverage the same kind of tools that we preach. So everything that we can use is cloud-based as much as possible. So if we need to cut our costs back as well, that's how we do it. Part of my service to my clients is helping them have a recession plan. It's what can we do as their IT provider to serve their business goals. And if it's growth, but sometimes it's not, right? And how do we have a plan for that? Well, these are the things that we can do to save you money. What can we automate? And, you know, we don't want to have layoffs, but layoffs are inevitable. How can we make sure that the business still survives and that we minimize those layoffs if that is really, you know, I mean, if it's that severe? And how can we use technology to do that? If we can make our processes more efficient, get more done with less people, that's how the business survives, right? And again, if we can make the business more efficient, that helps helps profit, right? So maybe we don't have to lay as many people off. Thank you. Anyone else want to answer that?
It just always works forever. Too.
There you go. All software works forever, right? Any other questions? Otherwise, I can start with my summary.
Go Wes.
Okay, so to me, my number one takeaway for anybody in this room is to have a technology plan, and that's people like myself and Josh, our businesses will sit down with you, no cost, just talk to you about what your goals are in your business, where you're going, and what kind of technology you need to have in place to get there, and what kind of technology you need to have in place now so that you have the resources and the capability to get there. So number one, I would say have a tech plan. Number two, for me, is cloud, and that's just a bigger version of software as a service. Software as a service are the softwares that you can rent, kind of like, so to speak, on the internet. Cloud is one step bigger, and that is that we can even move your servers and even your desktops actually out to the cloud. So now you don't have to have a single machine in your network in the traditional sense of a network. You need some thin clients, but you can access them on your mobile devices too, your iPads, your tablets, your mobile phones, and still run all of the same software that you run today, but it's out in the cloud. So someone else is backing it up, someone else is making sure that it's secure and always up 24/7, and they're top-notch professionals. Cloud services are provided by Google, by Amazon, by Microsoft, and they have huge budgets dedicated to making sure that that stuff is super reliable and super scalable.
It's more secure than you will ever build in your
Right, it's more secure than you can ever have, right? They have dedicated security. Yeah. Cloud. Third for me is mobile, or the buzzword in my industry is BYOD, bring your own device, and that's how do you accommodate people, your own staff, for example, or your clients that are accessing your data or communicating with you using their own devices. So maybe they're bringing it to work, or maybe they're accessing your website or your data from their mobile device. That's the trend. The death of desktops has been predicted for years. It's not coming as fast as everybody said, but it's still coming. It's all going to move to mobile. It's where we're all going. And the last thing I say before I'm done is don't settle. If you've got challenges, if you've got pain points in your business, if there's something that you do or your staff does that you think could probably be done easier or feels like a waste of time, odds are it is a waste of time. And there's some way that technology can help you improve that process. And we start with ROI. Measure what it costs you today, figure out how we can solve it, and make sure that you're going to end up net plus on that. The cost of fixing the problem isn't more than the cost of keeping the problem, right? And then once you have that, you're saving money. How can you reinvest that money? Either take it home in your business or reinvest it in additional enhancements, additional technology integrations, new apps, things like that, that can just bring more and more value to your business so that you can grow and grow your bottom line.
I would say planning is a big piece of it. Marketers are really, really good at convincing you that you need to have their next thing. So to have a roadmap in place of where do I want to take my business, start with your business objectives first. Technology is a supplement to that. It's not going to replace planning, but start with those business objectives, find out where you want to go, and we can help you stitch that back into your plans, your roadmap. Get in the habit of trying stuff yourself, like we talked about earlier. These software as a service companies, it's very cheap to spin up. They usually give you a free trial. You can always, like Mike was saying, go back to the vendor, ask for a longer trial, ask for a 45-day trial to try it out. No cost to you. Try stuff out to see if you can leverage it yourself. A lot of times when you come in and say, God, it would be great if I could have my own mobile app to help people book their own moving experience. Do you need to get there in step one, or could you start with a website and Calendly and Lately just to start taking appointments? Start simple, but start the process, get the ball rolling, but figure out what those business goals are first before deploying the technology. Otherwise, you're out in front of yourself and you've got to step back and figure out how to get around that.
I would focus in on every technology that you have that's not cloud-based. You just need to make a plan or just axe it right now and move that to the cloud. We have, like I said, we have about 40 people on the team. We've been around for 5 years. We have one file cabinet
which I think is the only, it's basically storing required documents that the state has that they don't give us digital versions of. We probably have them scanned in as well. And we have one printer that's not even a business printer. It's like a small desktop printer that Linda has on her desk. And we have not a single piece of software that we pay for, that's software as a service, that isn't capable on mobile. So all the tools I told you about, from Office 5 to Slack to Google, I can do every single one of those things, from creating and signing documents on my phone to communicating with anybody on the team. And so I don't have to be in the office ever, and every single part of our company is accessible outside of the office securely. So there's nobody who can stay at home in the morning and have an excuse that they can't get the same thing done at home. And so we have people, every morning I look at our Slack channel for project management, and at least 3 or 4 people, hey, I'm working from home this morning. And they are. They're working at their house on everything that they would do in the office. And sometimes they're more efficient at home, so they're going to stay at home in the morning. And they make their own coffee, and they sit around and just get more work done, and they come in the afternoon for their meetings. So that's how every business should run, and it should even be better than ours in terms of efficiency. But definitely, if your business doesn't look like that, it needs to, in the next, like as soon as possible, in the next year, next 2 years, you need to be completely moved over to something like that, where you're wasting money, you're losing traction. The farther you fall back behind this curve, the more expensive it is to fix it. And so if you can move there faster, you'll save more money. So that's what I would do with.
I basically say to first understand your business before you get involved in any type of technology. Just because if you start jumping in all these different forms, it's going to cost you a ton of dollars, like these guys said. So I'd say understand where you want to go first before you start throwing money at any type of technology. Probably be good. Simple enough?
Yeah.
Simple enough.
So if we're live on Facebook, can Steve Cope hear us? You got any questions, Steve? Steve owns Fargo Snow. Good guy.
That's good. He needs to be up in places.
Anybody here in the room? Questions?
Okay.
Comments? Ideas?
Okay.
Very good. One thing while we got everybody here, I want to mention Miss Kathy Llewellyn. Lisa welcomed everybody on their way in. She works with Kathy at My Personal Concierge, mpcfargo.com, correct? I want to tell everybody what that is, Kathy, and then talk about the project that you're working on with Wes.
Okay.
If you want, or Wes, if you bring up the project. Everybody got there's a little sheet in there, isn't there? Okay.
My professional concierge work, we give time. Basically what we do. Whatever you need to do to sell your business, let us do the background stuff. If you're doing all of your bookkeeping, if you're doing all of your calls, if you're doing all your thinking out, if you do all the stuff behind the scenes, you're not selling your business. Let us do all that stuff so that you can and create for yourself. So that's basically what we are. And I'll let Lisa's taking on the thing with Wes, so I'll let her comment on that.
Wes is heading up a project called Business Connection, and he is going to be spending the next several months going out, meeting with CEOs of local businesses to interview them for his blog on his website and also the blog on fargoinc.com he shared. So in the next several weeks, I will be accommodating those appointments for him, or calling on the CEOs. I'll be dropping off packets prior to the interview that will have questions and things that will be for them for the meeting, and we'll just keep going one by one. We'll be using definitely the 100 group and some of the outside businesses as well. And we're going to see a thought of maybe putting a book together after this program of all the blogs and the information gathered from the local CEOs. So it's an exciting project. So expect calls from, pardon me?
How do they get a hold of you? Lisa at mpcfargo.com.
And I have business cards here if anyone wants to stop by the table on the way out. Did you want to add anything to that?
I was just going to reiterate, It's free, there's no cost, it takes about an hour or so for the interview. Typically, you have the control if there's questions that you don't want me to ask or don't want printed or whatever, that kind of thing. Obviously, I'm not out to ruin your reputation by digging up dirt, that kind of thing. And it's in partnership with Mike Dragosevich and Fargo Inc. magazine, so the content also will be utilized for their website, as well as posted on my blog. And then again, it's an opportunity just to share what you as a business owner have learned over the years, what your challenges were, what your lessons are, what things that maybe you'd like, you wish you knew as a starting out business owner. Maybe you could help other people in the community and promote entrepreneurialism in Fargo Market.
It's a great idea.
And hopefully a book, but don't.
I make it look. Another thing, because he kind of off guard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One of the main things that we are trying to get into is becoming the face for your business. If you're to the point where you just can't afford to have a 40-hour a week marketer, you can come in for a couple of days or as much as you need and become the face for your business. More people's help.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. In that pack of stuff is also a comment sheet. And the way that we get our ideas for this, how we do it, how we run them is 100% by the comments that you put on there. So if you take just 5 minutes before you leave and fill that out as to what you thought of these guys, what you thought of me, your host, other people in attendance, the food, whatever. Just be frank, be brutal, be honest, and that's how we make them better every month. So.
Well, let's thank our trainers.
I'd like to extend an offer to if I wasn't able to answer your questions, reach out to me, set up a 30-minute coffee meeting just to go over what's on your mind, how we can make things better, no strings attached. Just want to throw it out there. So.
And be sure and take these sheets with you. They've got these 4 gentlemen, their contact information on the front, their websites, their businesses. And next month we've got an HR workshop here, which should be interesting. Darcy Fuchs from Payroll Express, Tanya Cook from Preference Personnel, Kim Bureau, Human Resources Management Group, and Paul Campbell from Kelly Business Law will be here to answer everything HR related. We should promo the good folks over at Hotel too. Speaking of tech, there's a tech industry that is far beyond telephones. Cindy Cole owns that. You want to just plug Hotel a little bit?
Well, Hotel does the selling service business telephone systems, and we can also do the cloud and that type of thing. But we do, what do you?
I think basically we start from, do you need a data connection to make all of this stuff work? We got for ourselves, we're all the providers. Now we get involved with both. We start getting the internet into your business. We start with, then we work with communication devices, cell phone apps, everything like that.
You want to plug what's going on? Your big exciting new venture? This is David Carroll's Custom Cinema and Sound.
Yeah,
They do this type of stuff, like the pads on the wall and yeah, go ahead.
John Kungle, who's the president, is taking a little time off to go over to Moon Dance. I haven't officially started. I start August 1st, but I've been in construction for 25 years and decided to kind of make a little bit of a life move. And John and I started talking, and we got connected through this group. So he actually reached out to Kurt, kind of hit a brick wall. Wanted to grow the business, but
He didn't hit a brick wall in reaching out to me.
no. But decided that in order to grow the business, he needed to make some strategic hires and focus on what he's good at. That's the sales piece and the technology piece of the business. I've been kind of an operational guy my whole life, so he's brought me on as a partner. And I'm going to be basically doing all of the business management for John. And I'm scared to death. Like I said, I've been in construction my whole life.
But it's another big tech aspect to your business as to what you've got for AV equipment and you guys must work and set things up like that. And
Oh, that's you guys.
But it's, well, it's all this stuff. It's home automation, business automation, anything AV. I think it's custom cinema and sound.net, I believe. They're really nice.
Yes. Oh, that's been the primary market. We are getting more into the commercial market now. You know, it was interesting. I brought my daughter over to the audition just to show her so John starts playing around. You know, when you're sitting there with your iPad, you're moving the dial around, and you see the thermostat going around. John just bought a lake place, and he's going to integrate stuff into that. So, you know, when he comes down every night, it's warm or cold when he gets there, or whatever. You know, it started out as basically home entertainment, and expanded into home automation, HVAC control. We do automated lines that are integrated into home automation, so we go up and down depending on the time of day and the time of year. If there's drones around.
Yeah. Shoot drones, actually.
That's a market. So we're located right off of like 52nd Avenue, 53rd Street. Building relatively new. We have half of it. And, John leases out the other half, audio garage. So,
Right behind the new CrossFit, I believe.
Yeah.
CrossFit is out on 52nd. You guys are right behind there. Another tech company. Luke, you want to mention what you guys do?
No, I'm just here to collect Pokemon. Luke Hagen with Liberty Business here in Fargo. We're actually celebrating our 30th anniversary today. The chamber's coming out to our office this afternoon to do a ribbon cutting and all that fancy stuff.
So Ron's going to be at work today.
Ron will show up to work one time this week. But we work with TrueIT, Wes up there, with Zach. We're not a managed service provider, we're a hardware company. So I heard Jake up there talking about the death of the printer and copier. I'd like to disagree with that, but a lot of businesses are going mobile, and it's how does our hardware, whether it's the copy and printer or the wide format plotter, we work with a lot of builders and contractors, especially up in the Bakken region. How do they take that information if it's in a hard copy, implement that electronically, and that's where your cloud-based services come into play, and access that information from your tablets or your mobile devices. So the end result is the output of the document, but there's a lot more that goes into managing those documents with the cloud-based services, which we can kind of get into and take care of via TrueIT and via those services. So, cool.
Thanks, Luke.
What time is it?
It's like 2 to 5. So, much free.
Harlan?
Okay. Well, good. Well, we got some books and stuff we want to give out. I think we decided we just say who asked questions, right?
Yeah. Normally we run around throwing names in a hat and whatever, draw them out,
But I would, before we do that, I would encourage you. Is anybody going to Minneapolis, St. Paul, Duluth, Hudson, Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Do you want to know CEOs in those locations? Go to Club E website and see if they have a Club E event. You'll meet 30 to 50 to 100 CEOs at that event that are right there. And that's a great networking, a great operation. If you want to expand or just want to do some business or anything, and you want to meet executive level people in those areas, Club E is a great source for that. So we may, yes.
Do you have to be a member of Club E
No,
to do it? Or
you do not have to be a member of Club E. You just have to go there, and if you go on the website, you can always reserve a seat for that. Just like somebody coming from Minneapolis could reserve a seat here and be able to meet all of you. So it's a great networking tool. So just be aware of that. That's what the Club E is about. We've got a couple of sales, and I've got this one picked out already. This one goes to Mike because I know he's struggling with this. So
you got this online?
Nope. Because this one is signed by the author.
Oh.
This is for me to buy. I don't know if anybody knows who to buy or not, but she's a good friend of mine. She's done a lot of different things, and she's got several bucks. But she is a sales pro, and this is how to hire superior sales DNA. So I'll give that one to Mike. Let's see, who else had a question? You want to bypass, no, the selling gap or high impact questions. There we go, that's how you interview. Let's see, who else had asked questions?
Brian asked, Mr. Meyer.
Yep, which one do you want, Brian? 1 to 3. That's all you got? There we go, that's mine, so appreciate that. Let's see, who else has the question? Right there. 1 to 2.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Any questions or what else?
Yeah.
Okay, and see, who else? Who else do we have?
Just a little quiet.
Oh. There you go. Okay. So thank you guys. I think that kind of ends it up. You can certainly stay here, network, talk to people. We'll meet somebody that you want to meet. Appreciate it. See you next month.